one of the best ways to not only maintain relationships with your existing customers, but to meet new customers is to get involved. And everybody is mindful about giving back to the communities that give so much to us.
You're listening to Stories from the Top, an inside guide to better business development. We are here once again with Katie Martin from First Resource Bank, the Director of Marketing. Katie, thank you for coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So today we're going to talk a little bit about community marketing, which is one of the tools you guys have nailed and perfected, in our opinion. So just to start out, can you give everybody a quick background on who you are and what your background is?
Sure. I'm Katie Martin, and I am the Marketing Director at First Resource Bank. I've been in the banking industry for over 20 years and in bank marketing for roughly the same period of time. I am an active volunteer in the community. I am on the board of the Exton Region Chamber of Commerce. I'm an active member of the Rotary Club of Westchester. I volunteer for the advisory board of the Salvation Army, and I'm also on the advisory committee for Mighty Writers and Tough Kenneman. So I'm pretty well versed in community activities, and I'm really excited to be here today.
So I know you touched on it a little bit in the last episode, but can you go into a little more depth about what your strategies are to market in the local community with a lot of your involvement in sponsoring events and business events, things like that?
Sure. So I would venture to guess that, and it's not even a guess, I would say about a quarter of my budget is spent on the community. And so what that looks like, it might be investments in our local chambers and local nonprofits. We'll sponsor events with them, but it's also getting our team members involved in the local community. So just like I volunteer on various boards and organizations, I'm not alone in that. All of the people that I work with, they're also actively involved from the top of the house all the way down to, the entry level position. Everybody is very mindful about giving back to the communities that give so much to us. So when I look at our marketing plan overall, it makes sense to me that we should continue to, put some dollars behind this. In my mind, one of the best ways to not only maintain relationships with your existing customers, but to meet new customers is to get involved. When you're working alongside someone, let's say you're, packing food for the food bank, or we just did a food packing day for a company or an organization called Rise Against Hunger. When you're there and you're standing next to somebody and you're helping to give to the greater good of the world and make the world a better place, and you're standing next to a small business owner, someday when that small business owner needs a loan, and if they don't bank with you or they're looking for a new bank, they're going to think of you because they're going to remember, hey, here's somebody who gave back. And who doesn't want to do business with somebody who does good in the world? So it's really important that when we as a company are out there, we're not just out there telling people, you need to open an account with us, or you need to do this or that, or it's not all about fees. It's not all about interest on accounts. It's really about relationships. We are holding on to one of everyone's most precious assets, and that's their money. Next to their family, I'm pretty sure it's number 2, and for some people it's number 1. So we need to show people that, we think that they're important, and we need to give back. And that's, when they give to us, we need to give to them, and we need to give to the communities around us.
So this is really your way of putting into practice that kind of marketing tagline. It's all about relationships. You guys are getting out into the community and literally forming friendships and relationships and bonds. Because I think a lot of times when people get into business, sometimes they can be so focused on the product or the service that they deliver, and then they realize like half of marketing is actually getting out into the community and making legit friendships with the people. I think that is really important and something that you guys are really doing a great job at performing. And you said a quarter of your marketing budget goes into this process of...
In some way, shape, or form, yes. So for example, obviously we've got our general sponsorships, but then it might be something like something off the wall where, to give you an example, last night a group of us just went down to Phoenixville, and there's an organization down there called Anne's Heart. And they have a fundraiser this holiday season where they're going to auction off Christmas trees. And each of these Christmas trees have been sponsored by a different company. And the company decorates the tree and they put all kinds of gift cards or prizes of some type of monetary value on this tree. And then people can come in and bid on the tree that they want to win. So last night, a group of us from First Resource Bank went down and we decorated a tree. And our tree's a little bit unique because obviously we don't own a storefront or anything like that. And we didn't want to necessarily go out and buy a bunch of gift cards. So we filled a bunch of piggy banks with cash. And we made like a cash tree. And it was fun. It was a way for us to give back. And so, it is a sponsorship in that regards, but I know that we're going to be going back and bidding on other trees. We're not going to bid on our tree, but it was kind of a fun way for us to connect as employees. It was a fun way for us to meet people in the community. And so, from a budgetary standpoint, of course, you pay for the sponsorship and everything, but then there's like the other ancillary things that go along with it. Maybe it's like decor for the tree. Maybe it's, I don't know, helping them promote their event, like maybe, sharing the story on social media. In times past, we've done things where we have maybe created videos. I know you guys can remember this back in the day when we worked with the fire company, Fame Fire Company in Westchester. Mm-hmm. And we paid for a commercial to help share their story. So it can be something as simple as just, supporting a small local event, but it could be something as big as really helping an organization who needs to tell their story, helping them tell it.
And you've done so many different types of things too. Like I know we worked with you on filming some of the Habitat for Humanity stuff where you guys were in there building homes for people. What are some of the craziest or some of your favorite initiatives that you've done?
The Habitat one was fun. I remember it was a hot day and you were there and you remember it was very fragrant where we were building the home. So that was kind of a fun day. And I think that what was really cool about that was you really got to see how, it's the community putting these homes together. They don't have, I'm not saying they don't have any professionals come in, but it's really like one professional and then a bunch of other volunteers who are just doing the best that they can. But you learn some new skills and you learn about the bones of a house, and that was kind of cool. So that was one of our fun days. One of the other things that, oddly enough, we really enjoy doing as a company, and this might sound so silly, is we do shred events every year. So we host a shred event where we invite the community to come and drop off whatever they want to stick in the shredder. That's paper, of course. They could drop it off and we'll shred it for them for free. And oftentimes we will partner with a local nonprofit and we'll say, hey, the event's free, but if you'd like to make a donation to them, they're going to be here. You can make a donation. You don't have to. But the shred events have become like our signature thing, to the point where when I ask, for volunteers internally, like who wants to work the shred event, I have to turn people away. And it seems kind of crazy to me that people want to hang out on a Saturday morning and collect trash. But they do. And we have so much fun doing it. We're laughing and, it's always, for us, it's always interesting to see what, we're dumping in these shred bins. I mean, sometimes people have stuff in there from the 70s and, you'll see, somebody's electric bill, which is a lot less than mine. But you'll see all kinds of stuff. And it's just, I don't know. It's hard to describe unless you're there. But I remember one time we had the opportunity to support the Salvation Army of Westchester at our One Shred event, and the team over there came out to help us that day. And we had such a good time that I can recall since then, Jesus Coraliza, who's over at the Salvation Army, has told me multiple times, hey, when's your next shred event? I just want to come and hang out. And again, it seems bizarre that people want to hang out as we're collecting trash and dumping it into a shred truck, but they do. And it's a great way for us to give back to the community. Certainly, it's always important to dispose of documents safely that have personal information on them. And so we're giving our neighbors the opportunity to do that. And just, it takes them 5 seconds. But for us, it ends up being a really fun day. It's a good way to meet people. And
there's so many different community events. How do you decide which ones you guys want to participate in? And is there a way to track like if it's effective for you as a secondary marketing thing?
So how we decide, first of all, one of the number one ways that we decide is we always give to customers. So it's never a question. If you are a customer and you ask us to support your event or your organization, we are going to support you. We might not always be the top sponsor. In fact, a lot of times we're not the top sponsor. More often than not, we're not. But we will be present and we will help you. And so we help in whatever way we can. So sometimes it might be something where we can't be the top sponsor, but we will donate a piggy bank full of cash and we'll help you sell raffle tickets for it if that's how you want to use it. A lot of times people like to put those as part of their silent auction. They might use it as a door prize. They might just keep the cash for their organization, and that's okay too. But so one of the ways that we support organizations is through money. But when we know that we can't necessarily be the top sponsor and there's a need, we will volunteer our time in addition to maybe making a contribution. So every employee who works at First Resource Bank gets 8 hours of paid volunteer time that they can use however they want. If they have a cause that is important to them, they are welcome to take 8 hours and go and volunteer their time with that organization, and they get paid for it. And it's the company's way of encouraging people to really give back to the communities that give so much to us. One of the things that we've learned along the way is that a lot of times people don't know where to use this time. They want to give back, but they're just, maybe they're not connected with any organization in particular. So we've tried to find opportunities for them to use this time. So for example, you mentioned that you came out for the Habitat for Humanity Build Day, and most of the people who came out that day were using paid volunteer time. So, they got paid to be there on a Saturday, which is great. Now, a lot of times we have plenty of employees who are volunteering far beyond the 8 hours. But it's really for those employees who they just, maybe they've never done it before. They just need a little encouragement to say, hey, try this out. So we've done that. We did Rise Against Hunger where we packed food for people. I'm trying to think. One time last year we did a day where we went to Westside Community Center and they had just taken over a new building and they needed help painting the building. So we put on our painting clothes and we spent the day painting. So really it's whatever an organization needs. But in terms of trying to decide who we support, we do our best to support as many organizations as possible. If you're a customer, you will get support from us. If you're not a customer, we will try and find a way to support. It's not always guaranteed, but we do pretty well. I can openly share that in the time that I've been with the company, hundreds of thousands of dollars in community support. And even just over the past couple weeks, every year we give out donations for education. This year we are giving out $350,000 in educational donations. Wow. So it's pretty exciting that we get to do this and we get to, help students thrive. So this is something that's ingrained in, our company mantra, if you will, that, you give back to your neighbors.
Is there any way for you to track the results from the marketing perspective? If a quarter of your budget's going into all these community events, is there any way to say, I think it's working?
We have discussions about it in terms of a formal tracking process where it's, recorded and we go back and we evaluate that. No, not currently.
It's brand awareness
right.
is so hard to...
It is. We certainly, when people come in, we may ask them, how did you hear about us? Mm-hmm. So maybe they've heard about us from one of our incredible commercials. Or maybe they met somebody at an event. And we do try to track that. But it's hard. But we do often have conversations about what did a good event look like for us? Did we meet some new contacts? Did we, what was the impact on the community? Or what was the impact on the employees? Sometimes it's, it's internal too. Sometimes when we do these events, it's about how we felt when we left. So for example, Habitat for Humanity, we were the only company that was there that day. So we didn't meet anyone externally really, but it was an opportunity for us to bond with one another and have fun outside the office, learn a little bit about our coworkers, and that goes a long way. Anyone who is in the Chester County, Delaware County area and has been out and about, you've seen us. We wear our signature blue and oftentimes are referred to as Smurfs. But, everybody who works here, we're proud to wear it. It's, I can recall working for other companies thinking, I can't wait to, take this sweatshirt off. I don't want to be advertising for another company. I'm not somebody who will wear branded items unless it's my company item. And which is kind of strange, but everybody who works there, I don't know how to describe it except for it's it's this feeling where we are proud of where we work. We're proud to be a part of something where we know that there's good stuff going on. It's a good company. They're just good people.
I think of it as like a pleasant saturation of the community. You guys are everywhere. You're happy to be there, and everyone's happy that you're there. That's kind of the way I've always seen it.
Yeah. I mean, I can recall a customer coming into our Westchester branch one time, and he said, I don't even think that, he's like, I think you guys actually genuinely like one another. He's like, every time I come in here, you guys are always laughing and smiling. And he was like, I don't think that this is for show. Like you guys like one another, and we do. And that's so important. And I think, from a company standpoint, there's the importance of sharing your message outside the company, but it's just as important inside the company. What is the overall message, and how do you treat one another? It's something that I don't know that it can be measured. But you will never find somebody who I work with going out in the community and saying something negative about somebody else we work with. It just doesn't happen. And I think that's because we're all on the same page. And when you're on the same page, you like who you work with. It's just a different environment. And I really credit the leadership team of our company for creating an environment like that. They're very inclusive. And one of the things that makes our company unique is everybody who works there has interviewed with the CEO. And doesn't matter what your role is, you will always interview with our CEO. And primarily because she helped start this company. She's one of our founding members. And, for her, this is her baby. So she wants to make sure everybody who works there is going to be the right mix for, our company family, if you will. And I think she's done a great job, and so has the rest of the leadership team. They're making sure that the people who join us are the right people for the job, and they're the right people to share our story.
Now, when you guys are deciding where these sponsorship dollars go, are they limited to nonprofits, or is there a geographical boundary of kind of where you try to focus those funds?
We do. Just like with our other marketing initiatives, we try to stay within a 10-mile radius of our branches. It's not to say that we don't want to help people elsewhere, but if there's a need in our backyard, we'd like to take care of that first. And again, a lot of times we're putting these dollars towards our customers and their organizations. So it might be, for example, you don't run a nonprofit, but you have a cause that's really important to you. And you come to me and you say, Katie, I don't know if you've heard of this cause. They're in our backyard. We'd really like, if you can help out, please, we could really use the support. And that might be something that we would support. So a lot of times it's within a 10-mile radius of our branches. It's not to say we don't ever do something outside of that, but it's usually right in our backyard. I mean, we're a community bank, so we try to keep our dollars community focused. And one of the things that I would share is that it's important too, when we are telling our story to our customers and also prospects, when you bank with us, your money stays local. A lot of times when you bank with a larger bank, they're taking your money in and they're lending out money to businesses on the other side of the United States. We're keeping it local. We're helping local businesses grow and thrive. And then when we're making donations, that money's staying in our backyard too. So again, it's just a matter of choices. And we really do try to support those who support us. And, when we can, we certainly push out a little bit further.
And it's part of making the community a better place to live, right? Reinvesting
Absolutely.
into the community through loans and through charitable giving. That's really cool.
Yeah, well, if you want to see First Resource, just take a walk down the street. You'll probably run into a Smurf somewhere. So, Katie, thanks again for coming on. We have another episode coming up in next week where we're going to talk about using customer testimonials and experience as a piece of marketing. So thank you once again for coming on.
Thanks.
Stories from the Top is your guide to successful business development. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts or find Edge of Cinema on YouTube. Stories from the Top is an Edge of Cinema production, hosted by Matthew Skura and Jeremy Schmidt. To learn more or get in touch, visit edgeofcinema.com/podcast.